I'm going to be checking and adjusting the primary chain on my Dyna Superglide today, which is another 5,000 mile service. It's very important that you check it and adjust it if necessary, because if it's out of spec, your chain and sprockets will wear out a lot more quickly and you might have difficulty shifting gears. To do this job properly, you have to have the real wheel off the ground so that you can find the tightest spot in the chain. Everyone does it differently, but if you have one of these large trolley jacks, you can lift up the bike right under here, under the frame, and stick a pair of axle stands under the swing arm. I put a piece of rubber on top to protect the paint, but it's super solid. Before you take it off, it's a good idea to mark the shaft and the shifter as well, so it'll go back in the same angle. 1/2 inch wrench. This is the reason why you need to change the gasket every time you take off the inspection cover. I don't think I did it the last time. There's a bit of oil that leaked. T27 for the screws. These two are longer. Using this little screwdriver. Taking a while. There's your old gasket. As I mentioned before, the service manual wants us to find the tightest point on the chain by turning the back wheel so we can measure the free play properly. This is what you would see if you had the primary cover off. We're going to be pushing up on the upper part of the chain, right in between the sprockets, through the inspection window, of course. I find these manuals really helpful because they're very detailed and they get all the pictures and diagrams, all the service and maintenance procedures and specs. This is basically what dealerships use as well. And I do have my factory service manual for my Dyna, but one of the coolest things about these ones is that you get to download it to your phone and you can carry it with you. You can look stuff up anytime and anywhere you want. Anyway, I'll drop a link for these manuals down in the description if you decide to get one. Got the plugs out, bike is in 5th gear, so let's find the tightest spot. The idea is to check at 3 to 4 different spots as we turn the chain around. You have to reach up quite a bit to be able to push the chain right up. Might have to do a couple of rounds to verify. It feels a little tighter. Actually, this feels the tightest right here. It might not be easy to feel it if you have quite a bit of a slack, but that's fine because at the end, we're gonna check the free play all around the chain. So the free play needs to be between 5/8 and 7/8 on a cold engine. There is specs in the manual to do it on a hot engine as well, but I would just stick to do it on a cold motor. You can use any kind of ruler that fits the purpose. You have your double row chain up there, so you're gonna hook it under the first row shown in the picture. For this, I like to use my handy little tool though. This is a bore gauge, quite strong material, and I got a piece of a broken caliper stuck on there with 2 magnets. And I measured that free play from here, 5/8 and 7/8. I've got the alignment mark on here, so I'm going to put this against the first row, let it just touch the chain, and push this piece up to align with the mark, and push up firmly right in between the marks. So my free play is correct, right? Well, not quite, and it's because we didn't consider the downward movement of the chain. So to measure chain free play, you need to observe and measure the downward and upward movement of the chain. So we got a nice long Allen wrench here. Get it hooked over the top of the chain. Pull down firmly. Get your tool in position. Now we have to push up this piece to align with the mark. Get this out of the way. Back in position. Now it's just out of spec. So my chain is a little bit too loose right now. Of course, it would be a lot easier to do this with the primary case cover off, but for that you need to drain the oil and get the large gasket, which is pretty pricey. Before making any adjustments, take a good look at where your adjuster sits. You can use the head of the screw as your reference point. So mine sits, the top of the adjuster is pretty much level with the bottom edge of the screw. I'm going to go ahead and move the adjuster up by a notch. This is also a good time to check your tensioner shoe. Mine is in great condition. If you can't quite see it or you need a better check, you might have to lower the adjuster and lift up the chain. It's 9/16 socket. Crack it loose. You just need to loosen up the nut. No need to take it off. Keep holding on to it with the socket and the extension, because if you let go or you're trying to adjust it with your hand, it's going to slide right down and it's pretty hard to get it back up. All right, so we said I'm going to move it up by a notch. This is where it was. There. Tighten it all up. Snug it down. So this is where it sits now, just a little bit over the bottom edge of the screw. Let's check it. Align with the mark. It's just a tiny bit over 5/8. I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to torque down the nut and double check. 21 to 29 foot-pounds. I'm going for 25. Check again. Still good. So now I'm just going to turn the chain around again to check at 3-4 different spots to make sure that it's all within spec all around the chain. So I verified that it was indeed the tightest point where we set the free play, and it's all within spec. So we're going to pop the inspection cover back on and put everything back together. You might want to replace this O-ring on the shaft. Mine is probably 16 years old. It's pretty hard. Well, I couldn't find the exact size in here, so hopefully this will do. You might want to order it online, an OEM one. This should do actually. Put a bit of oil on the O-ring, of course. Sticky side of the gasket will go against the plate. Put the screws in. So the factory service manual wants us to torque down these longer screws to different setting. They're all the same thread. So I'm torquing them down to 84 inch-pounds. So in the other manual, it's between 84 and 108 inch-pounds. I'm just going with the lower spec with all 4 screws. While you're at it, check the condition of your spark plugs. Mine are looking pretty good. Check the gap as well. I marked the range on here. In range. This one is also within spec. So we can pop them back in. We're all done.